Hello everyone. In today's class, we are going to study about the nail apparatus, a topic which is quite often ignored. We'll learn the anatomy of nail apparatus, both gross and cross-sectional anatomy in detail. The onycholemmal keratinization, which is different from the skin keratinization, will be dealt in today's class. So let's start the class. First, we'll learn the gross anatomy of the nail apparatus. In day-to-day language, what we call as nail is actually the nail plate. Now, this part of the skin just proximal to the nail plate is the proximal nail fold. Part of skin on the two sides of the nail plate are known as lateral nail folds. This is the free edge of the nail plate. This semicircular area seen at the base of the nail plate, usually more prominent over the thumb, is known as lunula. Now this part 0.5 to 1 mm area at the distal end of the nail plate is seen as pinkish reddish area in whites, though it is seen like this in Indian skin. That is known as onychodermal band. Now distal to the onychodermal band just before the free edge is the onychocorneal band, which is described as whitish band, but in Indian skin I can see it as brown. This is cuticle, which is a part of proximal nail fold. The corneal layer of the skin of proximal nail fold adheres to the nail plate, forming the cuticle. This cuticle has a protective function. It acts as a seal and prevents any external microbes or external agent from entering the nail apparatus. Its destruction may cause paronychia. So the diagrammatic representation of this gross anatomy is this. Now moving on to the cross-sectional anatomy. To understand any anatomy, it is best to learn the diagram. I would advise to take a pen and paper and start drawing with me. So this is the basic outline that one should draw at first. Now this skin colored is the proximal nail fold. From here to here is the nail matrix. From distal part of nail matrix is the nail bed. And then again this is the continuation of the normal skin. Now label them with me. This is the proximal nail fold. This red part is the nail matrix. Next, this one, the pink part, is the nail bed. This is actually the hard nail plate, to be very specific. The nail matrix is the main matrix which produces the nail plate. It is also known as germinal matrix. The proximal nail fold has two parts or two lips, you can say, the dorsal part and the ventral part. The ventral part is considered to produce some nail plate as well, so it is known as dorsal matrix. The nail bed is known as the ventral matrix as it is considered to produce some part of the nail plate. Between the dorsal and the ventral, the germinal matrix becomes the intermediate matrix. As it is very controversial as to how much the nail bed produces the nail plate, it is also known as sterile matrix. So the nail plate can be divided into three parts like this according to the region that produces it. So this becomes the dorsal nail plate, the intermediate nail plate, and this one becomes the ventral nail plate. Next comes the cuticle. The stratum corneum of the proximal nail fold folds on itself and gets a bit modified to become what is known as cuticle. It is also known as eponychium. This space between the nail plate and the normal skin is the distal groove. Now, the part of skin between the nail bed and the distal groove is what is known as hyponychium. It is actually in continuous with the skin and has all the features of normal skin. So this is the direction in which the nail matrix produces the onychocytes and the nail plate. This is for nail bed and this is for the dorsal matrix. The function of proximal nail fold in synthesizing nail plate onychocytes is controversial. So sometimes some authors say that this dorsal nail plate is also synthesized by the nail matrix. There is also one part known as isthmus. As the nail bed transitions into the hyponychium, this part is known as isthmus. Now, due to the transparency of the nail plate, the nail matrix, a part of it, is visualized, can be seen from above. That part is known as lunula. The isthmus, where it attaches to the undersurface of the nail plate, is seen as the onychodermal band. It appears as a reddish band of about 0.5 to 1 mm thick. That is onychodermal band. Now, where the corneal layer of the hyponychium attaches to the undersurface of the nail plate, that is seen as onychocorneal band from above. Onychocorneal band is not mentioned in many books, and even onychodermal band is written as the part of nail bed that is attached to the undersurface of the nail plate. So this is the basic understanding I have got through reading many articles. Now moving on to a very important part of nail keratin synthesis, which is also very difficult to understand. It is known as onycholemmal keratinization. Since the proximal nail fold is the continuation of normal skin, it has a granular layer. The nail matrix and the nail bed is specialized part of the epithelium and they have absent granular layer, that is there is no granular layer. Onycholemmal keratinization is a term for keratinization of nail. So we'll learn what is onycholemmal keratinization. We will concentrate on the nail matrix since this is the main matrix that produces the nail plate. So nail matrix will have a basal layer. Above the basal layer is the prekeratogenous zone. We will understand first the basic zones of the germinal matrix. Then we'll go into the details. Above the prekeratogenous zone is the keratogenous zone. This is the keratogenous zone. And after this, the final thing that is produced is the onychocytes. So after this will be the onychocytes, the dead cells of the nail plate. Now what are the function of each of these layers or zones? The basal keratinocytes of the matrix undergo active mitosis, forming the germinative compartment that will generate most of the nail plate. Now the prekeratinous zone is the suprabasal matricial cells that leave the cell cycle. They enlarge and start synthesizing keratin intermediate filaments. This keratin is hard keratin which is different in properties from the soft keratin of the skin. So this hard keratin is high in sulfur that gives it the intrinsic rigid property. The second property which is important, that it is high in cysteine. So it is having disulfide bonds. These disulfide bonds are responsible to strengthen the keratin and stabilize the keratin intermediate filaments. The transglutaminase enzymes cross-links these keratin and reinforce strength in them. So due to these properties of hard keratin, they actually don't need the keratohyalin granules that is used in the normal cornification of skin. So the granular layer is absent in onycholemmal keratinization. Let us understand in this way. What is the use of keratohyalin granules? They have profilagrin that converts into filagrin, and this filagrin aggregates the keratin filaments of the skin. Now the hard keratin, due to the intrinsic properties which are different from soft keratin, they aggregate directly as the cells flatten and compact when they move distally. So they don't need a granular layer containing keratohyalin granules. Now the cells in the keratogenous zone, there is cytoplasmic condensation, and then they are densely packed with the hard keratins of the nail. The cells become flattened as they move distally, and they become condensed and packed with keratin intermediate filaments. Now as the cells move from the keratogenous zone to the nail plate, there is loss of nuclei and loss of organelles. So now the onychocytes are produced which has no nuclei, no organelles. They are dense with cytoplasmic condensation packed with hard keratin. The nail matrix do contain melanocytes and they are present in the lowest three cell layers. They do not express HLA A, B or C antigen unlike the other regions of the skin, and they also do not produce melanin in white, though they do produce some brown streaks in the brown people. There are Langerhans cells and there is a basement membrane zone which is same as the normal skin. Now, below the basement membrane zone is the collagen. These collagen, if this is the bone of the finger, the collagen is oriented vertically. They extend from the basement membrane zone to the periosteum of the bone. So this gives a very dense, compact structure below the nail. This was all about the anatomy and the keratinization of nail. Don't forget, nail helps to protect the distal phalanx and fingertip. It provides rigid counter surface to the pulp of finger for holding and all the tactile sensations. Nail is said to be a window to the body. That means any changes inside the body is reflected in the nail as various signs. And we should not forget, the itch we get, nails helps us to scratch. With this, we come to the end of today's class. Thank you for being a patient listener and continuing till the end. Happy learning. Until we meet in the next class. Bye.